Back to our channel. Today we are going to start metacarpals anatomy. So if you know, metacarpals are nothing but you can see the bones which are just above your carpal bones. So total we have carpal bones. We also made a video on carpal bones, you can check it out. So now our main concern is our metacarpal bones. So if you see the metacarpal bones, they are just between the carpal bones and the phalanges. So actually there are total 5 metacarpal bones, and these are also called as miniature long bones. So why they are called as miniature long bones? You can see they are like somewhat looking like either humerus, or like you can also compare it with femur. They're like longest bones. They're the longest bones, but these are the miniature bones, but looking like a miniature long bones, hence the name. So actually if you want to study it anatomically, they are arranged from lateral side to medial side. So lateral side means you can understand from the thumb side. So this is the thumb and this is the little finger. So from the thumb side to the little finger side, or otherwise you can also compare with the radius and ulna, because we can by this also confirm whether it's medial or lateral side. Already on the medial side always we have the ulna, whereas on the lateral side you will have the ulna, radius, right? On the thumb side you have the radius. On the little finger side you will have the ulna, means ulna is the medial side, radius is the lateral side. So this is from lateral side to medial side. That is you can see, you can start counting the numbers of metacarpals: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from lateral, that is thumb side, to the little finger side, or else you can say that from the radius side to the ulnar side. So coming to the each bone, if you observe each bone in detail, you can see it is having a head. It's mentioned here, you can see it is having a head distally. So actually we need to understand what is proximal and distally by this diagram. So this side is called as proximal side and this is called distal side. That's why the phalanges are also called as distal phalanx or distal phalanx, because they are distally placed. The proximal means starting part. Even in our carpals we have discussed the proximal border and the distal border of the carpals. So if you observe, the distal border of the carpals is articular with the metacarpals, right? So actually in the metacarpals, the proximal side is articular with the carpals, whereas its distal side is articular with the phalanges, right? So I think now you got an idea what is proximal side and distal side. So here the head is placed distally, and you also have a shaft for each bone. If you see, every bone is having a shaft, and it's also having a base. The base is mainly articulating with the carpals. It's a proximal end. The base is a proximal end. So now we will discuss some details about the head. If you see the head, it's rounded and it's an articular surface. Yeah, it extends anterior posteriorly. This is anterior, even in the posterior side also it is present, right? So when compared with the lateral side, laterally it is more placed anterior posteriorly when compared with lateral side, and it extends more on palmar surface than dorsal surface. So for example, if you see, this is the palmar surface, right? The palm, the side which is facing your palm is the palmar surface, the back is the dorsal surface. So mainly they are extending more on palmar surface. So the metacarpal bones are more extended on the palmar surface when compared with the dorsal surface. And the head of this bones, metacarpal bones, nothing but forms the knuckles on the dorsal side. So if you fold it, you can see here, these are the knuckles, right? So on the dorsal side you can find these knuckles, which are nothing but the heads. You can see these are the heads of different metacarpal bones. So now we will discuss about the shaft. So the shaft is concave on the palmar surface, whereas flat on the dorsal surface in its distal part. So for example, if you see, this is your palm and here will be your metacarpals, right? They're concave, like you can see concave structure, whereas on the back if you see, they're like somewhat flat and also have a triangular area. They also have a triangular area in the distal part. So I will show you that triangular area. So if you see in this diagram, you can find those triangular area. These are the triangular areas on the dorsal side. Dorsal means this side, right? So on the dorsal side you have the flat triangular area in the distal part. I already said this is the proximal, this is the distal. So in the distal part you can find this triangular area. And coming to the base, you see it's like irregularly arranged, not in order. All the bases are not in order, they are irregularly arranged and irregularly expanded. So coming to the dorsal surface, triangular area, as we discussed before, it's unique in the case of the metacarpal bones. By this we can differentiate the metatarsals. Metatarsals are present in our leg, right, lower limb. So like this you can differentiate the upper limb and lower limb, this metacarpals and metatarsals, mainly by the metacarpal bone, which is having on its dorsal surface the triangular area. And coming to the shaft, if you see, it's uniform. The shaft is uniform in the metacarpal bones, and the head and shaft are mainly prismoid. See, the head and shaft, they are like prismoid structures. So now we'll start a individual discussion of the metacarpal. So first we are going to discuss about the first metacarpal. So I will show you the individual bone and we will discuss it. So here in this diagram you can see the different individual metacarpals. So you can see like they are like miniature long bones, right? Exactly like miniature long bones. So you can see here this is the first metacarpal. So this is our primary discussion now. So the first metacarpal, if you see, it is the shortest and stoutest among all the metacarpals. So you can see these are all different metacarpals. So first one is the shortest, means shortest, and stoutest means very small, right, when compared with others. So first metacarpal is nothing but our thumb. So the thumb, the metacarpal we are talking about now. So inside the thumb, now we have opened the thumb. Imagine that. Now going to see this first metacarpal. So it's the shortest, stoutest, and if you see the base, it's concavo-convex. Concave, first is concave, next convex also on the sides. You can see concavo-convex. So it's also the base is articular surface for the trapezium. You see here it is mentioned for the trapezium, right? Trapezium is what? It's a carpal bone. So mainly it's a lateral carpal bone, right? If you see my carpal bones video, you can understand the trapezium is a lateral carpal bone, that too in the carpal bones are arranged in two rows, proximal row, distal row. In the distal row you have the trapezium, which is a lateral bone, so it is articulating with the base of the, or you can say the base of the proximal part of the metacarpal, right? So it is having a concavo-convex articular surface in the base for the trapezium. And next coming to the dorsal surface. So if you see the dorsal surface of the metacarpal, you can see here this is a palmar aspect, means a palmar side, and this is the lateral aspect, means dorsal side. So if you see in the dorsal side of the first metacarpal, the shaft is convex or somewhat like flattened structure. And it's coming to ulnar and radial corners of palmar surface, impression for the sesamoid bones. So for example, if you see here in my hand, this thumb side will be my radial surface, right, and my little finger side will be the ulnar surface. So the radial and ulnar surface are the corners of the palmar surface, and my radial and ulnar corners of palmar surface are nothing but the impression for the sesamoid bones. Now we will discuss about the first metacarpal, its rotation. So mainly the first metacarpal can rotate in 90 degrees. This process is called opposition. Because of this opposition part of the thumb only we are able to grasp the objects into our hands. So this is the 90 degrees right angle, and it doesn't articulate with any other metacarpal bone. If you say the thumb, they're all like articular, they're very near, but the thumb you can see it's far away from this four fingers. So you can see the first metacarpal bone only articulates with that bone, but it will not articulate with remaining metacarpal bones. So next coming to second metacarpal bone. So you can see here this is the second metacarpal. So second metacarpal bone is the features here are the base is grooved. If you see here the base, it's grooved. The base is grooved from before backwards, and the medial edge of groove is larger. So medial edge of the groove is larger. So this is the lateral aspect, this is the medial aspect. So the medial edge of the groove is largest. Next coming to the third metacarpal. So if you see here, this is the third metacarpal. The third metacarpal base has a styloid process. So it is having a styloid process. Here it's mentioned, you can see this is a styloid process. So this is how you can identify the third metacarpal. So how to identify first metacarpal? It's shortest. So like that only you can easily identify it. Second metacarpal you can identify on its middle side, it's having a bigger articular surface on the base. And the third metacarpal you can identify it mainly by means of your the styloid process, which is present, right, in the base. That too it is projecting from dorsolateral corner. It's a dorsolateral corner. Next coming to the fourth metacarpal. So if you see the fourth metacarpal, its base has two small oval facets on the lateral sides for the third metacarpal. So actually you can see this is a fourth metacarpal and it is having a two oval facets for the third metacarpal. You know third metacarpal, so first one, second one, third one. So what they are saying, the fourth metacarpal is having oval facets to bind with the third metacarpal so that they both can bind. So that too it's present on its lateral side. So now we can understand this is the lateral side, this is the medial side. So in the case of our fourth metacarpal, on the lateral side it will articulate with the third metacarpal, but on the medial side it will articulate with our little finger, right? So on the medial side it has single elongated facet for the fifth metacarpal, only single, but here two facets for the third metacarpal, only one oval facet, single strip like facet for the fifth metacarpal. So that thing you need to observe. So like that you can easily find out the fourth metacarpal, it is having facets on both lateral and medial side. So now coming to the fifth metacarpal, its elongated articular strip is on the lateral side, only on the lateral side because it need to articulate with the fourth metacarpal. So if you see here, this fifth metacarpal bone, it will have only on the lateral side, to articulate with the fourth metacarpal, but on the medial side it will have nothing because there is no more other metacarpal, right? So it will be free on the medial side. So like that you can find out the fifth metacarpal. So articular strip on the lateral side for the fourth metacarpal, and the medial side of the base is non-articular and bears a tubercle. So on medial side you will have a tubercle. If you see here, this is for the fourth metacarpal, and also of course the base will articulate with the hamate, right? Hamate is a medial side bone, and you can see the articular surface for the hamate. On the medial side it will also have a tubercle, you can see the tubercle. So this is all about individual metacarpal bones. Now we will also discuss the side determination, like how to find out which bone. So in the case of first metacarpal, the anterior lateral surface is greater than the anterior medial, anterior lateral. So first we will find out what is the lateral surface and the medial surface here. So in this diagram you can easily find out what is the lateral surface and medial surface, because even here our radius and ulnar also plays, so you can easily find out. So you can see here, this is radius. Radius is always on thumb side, means it's the lateral side. You can see ulna. Ulna is on the medial side. So remember, this is the lateral side, this is the medial side. So from lateral to medial only we will start numbering or counting the metacarpal side. So this is the first metacarpal, second, third, fourth, fifth. So for the first metacarpal, how to find out what is the lateral side and medial side? Very simple. It is the lateral side, this will be the medial side for the first metacarpal. So in the first metacarpal, mainly the anterior lateral surface is greater than anterior medial surface. Anterior lateral means this side. You can see this side surface is very large when compared with this side, it's very short. Next, coming to the medial edge of groove on base. So for the second metacarpal, the medial edge, where is the medial side? This side, right? The medial edge of groove on base is deeper than the lateral edge. You can see it's like somewhat deeper when compared with the lateral edge in the case of second metacarpal. Now coming to the third metacarpal, even for the third metacarpal, this will be the lateral side, this will be the medial side. So in the third metacarpal, the styloid process is on the dorsolateral side. Dorsolateral means this is lateral, dorsally back side. There will be the styloid process, right? For the third metacarpal, and on the lateral side of the base there will be a articular strip. It is constricted in middle, and on the medial side of the base there are two small oval facets for the fourth metacarpal, because this is first, second, third. So for the fourth metacarpal they both unite by means of the two oval facets which are mainly present on the third metacarpal, right? So now coming to the fourth metacarpal. If you see, this is the fourth metacarpal, it has, this is the lateral side, this is the medial side. So in the lateral side of the base there are two small oval facets for the third metacarpal, right? And the medial side of the base is having an elongated strip for the fifth metacarpal. Now coming to the fifth metacarpal, this is the lateral side, this is the medial side. So right on the lateral side of the base there is elongated articular strip for the fourth metacarpal, and the medial side of the base is non-articular and has a tubercle. You can see here, this is a tubercle of the fifth metacarpal. So this is all about like lateral surface and medial surface. Always remember, you should correlate with radius or ulna, or also you can identify them by means of the side determination points just now I mentioned. Now coming to the main attachments, what are the attachments to our metacarpal bones? Let us find out. Now we will check out what are the main attachments of the metacarpals. So mainly from the shaft this muscle attachment start, and on the palmar side there will be palmar interossei, you can see here, and on the dorsal side there will be dorsal interossei muscle. So first understand the meaning. Palmar, on the palmar side, interossei means in between the bones there is a muscle, so very simple. Next, even in the dorsal side there will be dorsal interossei muscle. So palmar interossei muscle arises from all the metacarpals except the third metacarpal. You can see first, second, third one is not having the palmar interossei, whereas the four everything will have except the third metacarpal. This is important point. Next, coming to the and one more thing, the palmar interossei will arise from individual metacarpal, means it will arise from one metacarpal. Okay. Now coming to the dorsal interossei will arise from the adjacent sides of two metacarpals. So it is adjacent side of two metacarpals, means it's covering the two metacarpals, whereas palmar interossei is only from the one metacarpal, and that too it is absent on the third metacarpal. But dorsal interossei is present on every metacarpal, and it is coming from the adjacent sides of two metacarpals. So that thing you need to understand. Now coming to opponent's pollicis. So you can see here the diagram, this is the first metacarpal, that is nothing but our thumb. So what are the muscles which are attached here? You can see opponent's pollicis is arising from all, opponent's pollicis is inserted on the radial border of anterolateral surface of shaft. You can see it is attached to the radial border. Radial border means that is nothing but laterally it is arranged, right? Next, coming to abductor pollicis longus. So if we see abductor pollicis longus, it is also inserted on the lateral side of the base. Next, we have the first palmar interossei, which is arising from ulnar side of the base. So you can see first palmar interossei, its origin. So till now you are seeing the insertions. So the origin is from ulnar side of the base, that is on the medial side. The first palmar interossei arise on the first metacarpal. So this is about first metacarpal. Now we'll see about the second metacarpal. So now we will see about the second metacarpal. If you see here, there is tendon of flexor carpi radialis. So this flexor carpi radialis, you can understand radialis means of course it will be on the lateral side, right, on the thumb side, right. So it will get inserted on the tubercle on palmar surface of base. So of base of the second metacarpal. So this is the first metacarpal, this second metacarpal, right. So this tendon of flexor carpi radialis goes directly straight into the base of metacarpal. That is important. It is attaching to the base of palmar surface of second metacarpal. Next, also we have the extensor carpi radialis longus. So extensor carpi radialis longus, you can see here in this diagram the extensor carpi radialis longus. So it will go from here to the second metacarpal, and mainly this will attach on the dorsal surface of base. Dorsal surface means on the back side. So remember, you can see here I wrote the flexor carpi radialis insert on tubercle on palmar surface, but the extensor carpi radialis on the dorsal surface, as it's an extensor component, you can remember like that, whereas flexor one is on a flexor component, so it will on the palm, it will lie on the palmar side. Next, coming to the oblique head of adductor pollicis. Adductor pollicis oblique head will mainly arise from the palmar surface of base. So in this diagram you can see the adductor pollicis muscle. It is having an oblique head and also a transfer head. You can see the oblique head is mainly getting arise from the second metacarpal on its palmar surface of the base. Now coming to the third metacarpal, so you can see first one completed, second one, third one. So the third metacarpal, a slip of flexor carpi radialis is also inserting on the base of palmar surface, and extensor carpi radialis brevis insert on dorsal surface of base beyond styloid process. So only one thing you remember, if they are flexor part they will insert on the palmar surface, if they are extensor they will insert on the dorsal surface. And next you also have the oblique head of adductor pollicis. You can see here the oblique head, this is arising from the palmar surface of the base, and the transverse size of adductor pollicis arise from distal to third of palmar surface of shaft. So the only interossei, you can see the fourth metacarpal have only interosseous muscle, that is in between the bones, metacarpal bones. Next, coming to the fifth metacarpal, that is the little finger. It is having extensor carpi ulnaris. You can understand because it's on the medial side, so there will be ulnaris, it will insert on the tubercle of base. So always remember, all these muscles are attaching to the base in the case of all the metacarpals, but only in the first metacarpal it will attach on the upper border, or you can say on the head. That too, the muscle is opponent pollicis. You can see opponent's pollicis is inserting on the radial border and anterior lateral surface of shaft. So the first metacarpal, the muscle is inserted on the shaft or near to the head, but in the case of all other metacarpals, if you compare, their muscles are attached only to the base of the metacarpal. You can see here opponent's digiti minimi. Minimi means small, so the small muscle of course will go to the little finger, small finger, so it will insert on the medial surface of the shaft. So even for the small finger there is attachment to the shaft. Now let us check out what are the articulations of the metacarpals with the carpal bones at their base. So let us start with first one. So the first metacarpal one will join with the trapezium. You can see here the trapezium, and the second metacarpal will join with even trapezium, also with the capitate, also with the trapezoid. So they form the, and also with the third metacarpal joint. You can see the third metacarpal joint. So remember, the first one is a thumb which only articulates with the trapezium, but the second one will articulate with the trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, and also with the third metacarpal. Now coming to the third metacarpal, it will articulate with the capitate of course, and also with the 2 and 4th metacarpals, that is second one and fourth one. So third one it's in middle, so it will articulate with 2 and 4 metacarpals. Now coming to the fourth metacarpal, it will also articulate with capitate and also with the hamate and also with the third and fifth metacarpal. So you can see, so only remember the second metacarpal will articulate only with the third, but from coming from third they'll articulate with second, fourth, and coming to fourth it will also articulate with third and fifth. So coming to fifth, it will articulate of course with the hamate and also with the fourth metacarpal. So only the second one will articulate with third one, and fifth one will articulate with fourth one, but the third one will articulate with second and fourth, and the fourth one will also will articulate with the third and fifth, but the fifth one will articulate only with the fourth and also with the hamate. So it's very easy to remember. Now coming to the ossification, the shaft here you can see in the metacarpals, that shaft will mainly ossify from primary ossification center, and that too it will appear during the 9th week of intrauterine development. And whereas coming to the secondary center is come for the heads mainly, they start appearing in 2 to 5 months, and for the base in first metacarpal. So what they're saying, secondary centers for the head appear in 2 to 5 metacarpals. So 2 to 5 metacarpals, 2 to 5, all this the secondary center will appear, and for the base in the first metacarpal. So for the base only the ossification center is in the first metacarpal. So remember, the ossification center for the first metacarpal is in base, for what second to fifth the ossification center is in head, and they all appear in 2 to 3 years and fuse with the shaft at about 16 to 18 years. We are talking about second to fifth metacarpals. For them they appear in 2 to 3 years and fuse with the shaft at the age of 16 to 18 years. So this is all about metacarpal bones, their muscle attachments and their bony features. Next we will start with phalanges.